Let's do it. Option 5, mastering the pairs trade step-by-step guide. Pairs trading consists of playing the spread between two correlated markets between SPY and IWM. In this example that we're going to look at on the first slide here, reestablishing the fact that we need to see a super strong correlation, because the only way this works is if you see a divergence in two prices that are supposed to be highly correlated and then they converge back to a normal relationship. And if you're not seeing that, if you don't have this super high positive correlation, and I would define super high positive correlation as somewhere in this range between 0.75 and closer to 1, like SPY and the NASDAQ have a really strong correlation. SPY IWM, of course, similar as well. But when you get into other products like gold and silver, like there's also ways you can play those. Yes, there are going to be situations where they're moving in different directions, but you have a general idea of the historical relationship of these products. And when you get these extremes from a divergence standpoint, you can play both sides and play for that convergence. And there's a lot of potential benefits that can play a role when you are doing something like this, because you're not taking one-sided risk. You're trading the relationship.
And it might be somewhat difficult to see this on the chart, but right now the 90-day, 3-month correlation between the S&P 500 and the Russell is 0.96. It's going to be above 0.9 the majority of the time. Obviously, they're both equities, U.S. equity indexes. So
yeah, super strong. And again, that is a requirement for pairs trading for sure. So we can pop over to the next slide. We can talk about setting up pairs trades and what we're trying to do. So again, taking advantage of correlated names that have diverged in price, whether it be SPY and IWM, whether it be GLD or SLV, there are opportunities out there. You just have to be able to see them. And also, again, understand that it's got to be between two products that have a long history of having a strong correlation, or inverse correlation for that matter. But yeah, that is how this thing can work if you are partaking. Increased occurrences during periods of low IV. So sometimes you have situations where markets aren't moving all too much, but you see something like this happen, where you see a divergence in a relationship, whether it's to the upside or downside. It doesn't really matter. You're kind of just playing that relationship range. And I like to think of it kind of like the Bollinger Bands we just had on the show, where it's like you have these products that are normally moving together, and then you have this divergence. Maybe you short the one that has moved to the upside, maybe you get long the one that has sold off, and you're playing for that convergence over time. And that's really what pairs trading is.
Yeah, and I think with anything, right, when you have low volatility, that market environment allows you to take more risk, to size up your positions. But when you do see that volatility spike, when all of a sudden the instruments that you're trading, the assets that you're trading become very, very volatile, you typically want to reduce some of your size. That would be the approach I would take, at least. And we see that as well when you have a low IV rank. Okay, you can do a few more contracts here, but just be conscious of the fact that that's not going to stay low forever. And when it does change, you have to readjust and, again, think position sizing, because that's ultimately your risk management approach.
100%. And last but not least, reducing risk by trading a spread. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but again, you're not taking one-sided risk. You are taking the relationship risk, and if they're moving together, you have this idea of less notional risk at the end of the day. Speaking of notional risk, steps for setting up a pairs trade. First, surprise, surprise, find correlated underlyings that have a recent divergence in price. Find the notional value of each. So I talk about this all the time, notional value. I'm usually talking about earnings trades, like what's the implied move for a stock against its notional. So I like to look at that. 10%, 15%, super high. 5% or less is really low. But when you're dealing with pairs trades, especially two different products like gold and silver, GLD and SLV, these are different priced products. So you can't just do like 100 shares of one and 100 shares of another. You have to realize that these product sizes are completely different. And to equate one to another, you've got to match up the notional value, which we'll walk through in just a little bit. But you also need to adjust the notional value for implied volatility, because to Ryan's point, you have these products that could be low IV and some could be high IV, and you need to notionally adjust the implied volatility for each to, again, you're trying to get as close as possible to a 1-for-1 equation where you're long one, short another, and you're matching or adjusting for the greater or lower implied volatility on one side and greater or lower notional value on the other, so that you can get as close to an apples to apples conversion at the end of the day. Next slide, please. My favorite color, green.
Beautiful slide.
Yeah, beautiful slide. We'd love to see it. But yeah, these are a couple of examples. So again, we've talked about SPY and IWM on the lower left here. The Qs are also going to have a super high correlation to all three of these. But you can also get really high correlation in products that are in the same sector. So JP Morgan, Citigroup, Bank of America on the upper left here, they're all in the 80s. 65, I would say, is kind of on the lower end for a pairs trade, but 75, 80, 90, golden, especially if it's a long-term correlation. 3 months is plenty.
And that's key as well, right? You don't want to look at this as a 5-day correlation or a 15-day correlation. You want to look at this on a 90-day basis. Have some sense of what is it on an annual basis as well. Indeed.
And then in the upper right quadrant here, UAL, American Airlines, Delta Airlines. So the airline sector, again, you have 3 different products that are different airlines, but they all are at the mercy of crude oil prices and at the mercy of the FAA, like all these things. So if you see one product drop and another rally, maybe you are playing the divergence of that relationship. And instead of taking direct risk by just trading one, you're taking a little bit of a softer risk, we'll call it, because you're long one, short another, and you're expecting them to move in the same direction. Next slide, please. So with these different products, all of those products we just talked through have completely different stock prices and different implied volatilities. So we need to find the notional value of each of them to start this pairs trading journey. For stocks and ETFs, calculating the notional value is easy as multiplying the stock price by 100. So the Russell at 279, that's a $27,900 notional value. And the S&P 500 SPY is $740. We're calling it 74K notional. So again, these are 2 different products that are very different, have very different prices and implied volatilities. So you can't just buy 100 shares or sell 100 shares of each and then expect to have this equated pairs trade on your hands. You've got to adjust. So what does that look like? On the next slide, please. Adjusting for notional value and implied volatility. After adjusting for IV by multiplying by the IV, we have a new notional value that we will use to equate the risk on both sides of the pairs trade, so we are not overweight on one side. And again, you're really just trying to match these up as evenly as possible to really play into the pairs trade itself, right? Because like you can be trading a binary event or something like that, but if you've got an option that's 360 days out, it's very different than trading that really isolated binary event in the 1 day or the weekly. So same story here. We need to adjust for all these things to really match up each side that we're trying to get long or short, so that we're not at the mercy of one stock price moving in the same fashion as the other, but we have way more exposure in one than we do in the other.
And so in this case then, Mike, I'm probably jumping ahead.
It's all right.
We'll wait till the next slide.
All right.
Apologies.
But yeah, taking those stock prices, notional value, multiplying by IV, you've got your new notional figures here. So finding the contract ratio to match the notionals, now that you've got that correlated pair and the IV adjusted notional values for both, we can finally arrive at a ratio for the trade and implement the trade in shares or options on the 2 stocks. So IWM at 6K, SPY at, let's call it 12K. You've basically got a 2-for-1 type of situation here where you need to adjust and ultimately have more exposure in the Russell than you do in SPY, right? So we pop over to the next slide here. We can see that 52% SPY shares for deltas for every 100 IWM. So I think you can do this calculation and you can really get granular with this type of stuff, but you could also eyeball it, I would say. And even if you're not using straight up static deltas like we're talking about here, you can notionally match spreads too. Like you can do those kind of things where you're selling a 20 delta spread and taking $5 of risk on each of them. And this is kind of how you can get into that sort of notionally matched pairs trade while still adjusting for IV itself. Because if you're using delta, to your point earlier, understanding those core Greeks, the delta will be adjusted for IV already.
Yep.
Next slide, please. So if you've got a 1-to-2 ratio for SPY to IWM, you'll be neutral with the current values relative to implied volatility and relative to notional risk. So if you wanted to be short, you would go short less shares of SPY to IWM. And if you wanted to be long, you would get more long shares of SPY to IWM. As you become more experienced with trading, you can do this calculation quicker in your head to approximate how you should place your pairs trade for your current assumptions. But again, if you're using deltas, like static deltas for share exposure, it's going to be a little bit more of a math situation because you want to make sure that you're notionally adjusted for IV and the notional value of the stock price. But if you're using options, it's a more complex situation, but it's kind of funny. Like you kind of do this yourself. Like you can take, again, you can sell a 5-point wide spread on either side and use a 20 delta option or a 20% probability of in the money. And that will already equate or notionally adjust based on your spread size, but also based on implied volatility in that same regard. A couple of takeaways for you. Pairs trading aims to capitalize on price divergences between correlated assets while reducing directional risk through spread trading. And by adjusting for notional value and implied volatility, traders can size positions appropriately and increase trade frequency in different environments.